Hello everyone, and welcome to a little review of my mod for Vintage Story. The mod is called Boric Alchemy, and it essentially just plugs a couple of cracks that I saw in the game, colored lights and the like, with a bit of an alchemical twist. So without further ado, let's get to the beginning of the tutorial. So the first things you're gonna find that I think, well, they were cool enough to make me make the mod. This is like the main feature, are colored lights. So, if you make yourself a regular oil lamp, you can add to it potash to make a violet one. You can add salt to make a yellow one. You can add some boric acid to make a green one. The one that's the biggest stretch, bone meal. There we have it. Bone meal, which makes it red. Which, strictly speaking, realistically wouldn't happen. But, you know, there's a grain of truth in that apparently. With actual pure calcium, metallic calcium, not in bone calcium. You can add white. You can add crushed alum to make it white. There's another substance you could add. And also, if you add... whether you add potash or saltpeter, it's always going to end up being a purple one, I believe. Yeah. As you can see, they still work as dynamic light sources. They're colored. You can put them down. I know it's the old model. I might get to updating it at some point. Another thing you can do is, with these lights, if you take it and you sprinkle a bit of blasting powder, say the red one, you then make it into a sparkler. So now it's spewing out the particles, a little smoke. You know, good for celebrations and the like. Let's make a blue sparkler too. Where did I put the blue one? Did I not make a blue one? Oh, I did not. There we go. Blue light works, of course. Yay! Okay, now onto the second part of the tutorial. There are some new little resources you can make, mainly to make the actual chemistry a bit more, you know, achievable. So next time you find a bacterial mat, you know, by a hot spring, if you break it, you're actually going to get some sulfurous slime now. This stuff, which you can pile down. And if you cook a bit of this sulfurous slime, there you go. Made a bit of powdered sulfur. So that's just one way to get sulfur without having to get lucky and finding the ore. Another thing is, if you get some phosphorite, which seems to be an ore that you can get in the ground, and a bit of sulfuric acid, and a pot, you will be able to... this, yep. So that's gonna cook now. Let's throw in a bit more wood. There we have it, a bit of phosphorus. Now, phosphorus doesn't have that many uses. Mainly it's a substitute for white in these recipes. If you don't want to use crushed alum, you can just use a bit of phosphorus. In this case, that's probably more expensive than getting alum, finding fucking phosphorite, but you know, it's an option. Now, one more thing that's left here is, correction, if you grab a board and you use a saw on it, you'll get a bit of sawdust. And with the sawdust, you can cook it to make a bit of potash, because it's made from ash. And there you have it, a bit of potash. Now, I believe that concludes this side of the experiment. Okay, moving on, we have our bleaching segment. So, first things first, you can use a bit of rendered fat and a bit of your potash. Oh, sorry, that's still outdated. Right now it's asking for regular fat. Well, by the time you're gonna see this, it's gonna be fixed, but for now it's using just regular unrendered fat. So now that you have a bar of soap, what you can do with it is you just combine your pot, the soap, and a bit of sand as an abrasive, and you get a clean pot. And your soap takes a bit of durability loss. So your pot's good as new. You can use it again. You can put your soap off on display. Now, next, we have ammonia. Now, before we can get to ammonia, first we have to make some ammonia. And to make it, you actually have to use a bit of sulfuric acid and bone meal. Yeah, I know the ratios are a lot wrong. Let me go like this. There. So, boiling sulfuric acid and bone meal will make us a bit of bone slurry. Now, sulfuric acid, that's a vanilla recipe. It's water, it's saltpeter, and 2 powdered sulfurs. Very achievable, especially if you find a hot spring, you know. There you go, a bit of bone slurry. So then what you can do is you take a bucket and you can just collect it up. And you just load it into the distiller. Now, obviously we're busy people with a busy review ahead of us. So I got more. We can fill our thing up. I think that's as much bone slurry as we can handle. Recently I redid the texture, so if you've seen the mod and some things like the bone slurry or the soap looked kind of terrible, they're new now. Gonna load some fuel in. And honestly, programming the distillation was such a wizard activity. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it more or less seems to work. So really, I'd be greedy to ask for more. We're seeing it rise in temperature. Now, in real life, this would apparently smell atrocious. Fun fact. Got a lovely bit of ventilation here. Ah, it's ticking through and dripping on. So as you can see, we have a liter of ammonia. What do you do with ammonia, you might be asking, seeing me just gas myself with ammonia fumes? Well, you can use ammonia together with a bit of cloth to make things. First of all, we're gonna need to wash this pot. And if you have a pot and you take a piece of cloth and a bit of ammonia and you light it and you have fuel in it, and if you don't have to light it, then don't. I think I put my torch in there, but that's okay. That's alright, we're almost done in this room. While this is cooking, you can also use cloth with regular soap, but that will only wash it down to the more drained cloth. You're not gonna get clean cloth out of it. If you want clean cloth, you're gonna wanna do this process. And as promised, some plain cloth. Now, some dyes you can apply without, like more draining the cloth. So for those, soap just turns it into clean cloth. I figured otherwise it would be kind of OP because you could wash it into being more drained. But anyway, that's just an edge case. That's also done in this room, but we're not quite done with the mod as a whole yet. I will part with the saw as much as it hurts. Entering the raccoon corridor, we have 2 more rooms. Taking the one on the left, labeled Electrolysis, we enter a magical land of whimsy and mystery. So, if we slap some sulfuric acid over here, grab a bit of it in a bowl, and then craft that together with a piece of copper and a piece of tin, we're gonna make a little battery with only 8 charges. And you can pop this down, just display it as an item, you know. But now that we actually have the battery, we can start making some shit. So, first things first, put it in your crafting menu with a bowl of water or brine, and then saltpeter and a piece of copper, and you will make copper hydroxide. And copper hydroxide is an ingredient for blue dye, so it's a fairly accessible blue dye. Now, strictly speaking, the light fastness of copper hydroxide in real life is completely irrelevant to this temporally ambiguous environment. Besides that, we can also do a similar process except with lead. And when it comes to lead, we're gonna make some lead hydroxide, which is a white powder and is a white dye. Beats having to get borax, in my opinion. Save that for boric acid. And I am slowly going insane. Okay, back to survival, and it's nearly done. Our lead hydroxide has transformed into massicot. Now, as I'm sure you can expect, massicot is just another dye. This time it's yellow dye. But if we choose to push it another step, it'll turn into litharge. There we have our litharge, and you've got to admit that's a beautiful red. And that is an ingredient for red dye, of course. And if you cook that another step, I forgot, you'll get platernite. And that is an ingredient for black dye. So you don't have to use your precious gears. Ta-da! Platernite. So many ways to get lead poisoning, and you know, a full spectrum of lead you can go through. I love it. One last thing before I let you go and breathe some fresh air. We have the Star Technology Room. Now this isn't very complicated, but combining sulfur and zinc together lets us craft zinc sulfide. It should, why doesn't it? Okay, a quick restart later, it mysteriously works. So, if you combine a bit of zinc and a bit of sulfur, you'll get the zinc sulfide powder. And now this glows a little bit. I don't really think it glows in your hand. But combining it with beeswax, you can make some stars. Now this is just the default shape. You can stick them on and they pop off. And if I set it to night, if I take the light off and I set it to night, it in fact gets brighter. Huh, that's interesting. If I take every light down, that should help. There, darkness falls. So, as you can see, they're proper glowy, emissive stars. If you put it in your crafting table, you can get a different pattern, like hearts. Yes, they're upside down. I don't know why that's the case. I might be able to fix it. Never mind, I might not be able to, because apparently the skulls can decide how they're rotated. Then we have gears, if you want to mark a place as being and or having a gear. And then if you craft it again, it just loops back to stars. So once you make these decorative thingies, you can just cycle through them. But yeah, that's my mod. That's Boric Alchemy. There are a couple little things I haven't gone into because they're just little side things that aren't super relevant. For example, you can make some plushies of some people that I used to play the game with and sometimes still play the game with, and you can make me. Do you want me in your game? I can be in your game. You can put me in your game. Put me in your game. Make me immortal. Put 1,000,000 Horcruxes all over the world. Also, you can make some honey drops. I'm not sure how I feel about these. They're kind of really on the borderline between alchemist and medicine person. So they might go. The ones with 2 horsetails heal you 1 HP. But to be fair, you have to spend 2 honey on it, and the fact that you can eat honey and not get health from it is bullshit. It should not be that hard to make if it's not gonna give you shit. Anyway, thanks for watching. I apologize for any heavy metal toxication or intoxication. Yeah, I'll leave a link to the mod in the description. I hope you check it out. I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, don't expect too many updates, because this is like a motivation driven project, you know, when I'm arsed kind of thing. Bye bye.